We flipped the finger to the King of England. Stole our country from the Indians. With all on our side and guns in our hands, took it for our own. Built a nation dedicated to liberty, justice and equality. It doesn't look that way to you, it doesn't look that way to me. Sickest joke I know. Listen up, man, I'll tell you who I am. Just another stupid American. You don't want to listen, you don't want to...
Hello and welcome to Congress of the Working Class. I'm Mike. I'm here with Esworthy, Johnny, and Fred. How's everybody doing?
All right.
I'm here.
Good.
Wonderful.
Happy to see that we're all here. So I'm going to throw us right into the fray here. I'm going to let you guys discuss this among yourselves because I'm going to sit back a little bit and I'll throw in my 2 cents. But the first thing I want to talk about is the Maryland gun laws that they are attempting to pass, if not already been passed, in the passing news that I haven't gotten to see.
Well, I know it passed the Senate, not the House, I think.
So it's pretty much part of the way through already.
Yeah. And it'll probably go all the way through, because, honestly, in Maryland, who's going to stop it?
Well, the one thing I did see, I saw some interesting statistics.
Hopefully the people with guns.
Statistics.
It might take the guns to stop it.
Yeah.
I saw some interesting statistics about Maryland when in relation to guns and murder rates and all that different jazz. I mean, and a lot of it points that Maryland really doesn't have that bad of a problem compared to a lot of other states. And I don't think like we have horribly strict gun laws in Maryland. I mean, I know we have some, but I mean, the thing is that, I mean, to me, it feels like more overkill by this administration, more posturing.
But you mean by the O'Malley administration?
Yes.
Well, remember, he's gunning up for a presidential run in 2016, so he wants to look good to all his extremist Democrats, you know?
Yeah, probably right.
I don't understand how they think that's going to work, though, because, like, I don't know. I just really think this country's more moderate than people realize.
Well, you know, it won't work, and I'll tell you why. Maryland gun law has already been found to be unconstitutional by courts. So, I mean, it's like how they do, like, they did the concealed carry permit. They were requiring people to show a good and substantial reason for getting a permit to carry, and that was struck down. And I don't see how which also Maryland basically said, well, we're going to ignore that ruling and keep doing it the way we're doing by using these legal delay tactics. And it is the same thing with the handgun bans in both Chicago and Washington, D.C., were both found by a federal court to be unconstitutional. Because there used to be, you couldn't own a handgun in Chicago or Washington, D.C. And in fact,
right.
there was only one FFL dealer permitted in Washington, D.C. For handguns, and they were all government, you know, basically servicing the government as a gunsmith more than anything else. Because the government has all the guns.
I just think it's right that they're criminalizing people, because part of the law is that they have to register their weapons. Certain weapons, at least, if not all. Is it all, or is it just certain ones?
It's just certain ones, and there's like very, very weak grandfather provisions in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's messed up that you become a criminal.
Well, the thing is, that the way the law is, as I read, they're saying you need a permit to own it, and every 5 years you have that permit renewed. Yet Maryland has been the state that has again and again said, well, we're not issuing any permits because we don't want this. But you can still get one, but we're just going to, choose not to approve it.
Well, looks like they were originally going for $100 for the license to purchase. So you'd have to pay $100 just to be able to get a license in order to purchase it.
What's the class?
And then the class, which, I don't mind the class. I don't mind, but you can't require to go back and require somebody to pay to get a license to get something that they already had.
Mm-hmm.
That's just ridiculous, because you're denying them the ability to factor that pricing into the initial purchase.
Well, even Feinstein backpedaled on the outright ban even on grandfathered weapons.
Well, me and Johnny were talking before about our boss, or my previous boss, his current boss, that he has heirlooms. That he has no record of where they came from or anything like that because they've been passed down.
Yeah, it's like fourth generation hand-me-down weapons, and
what's going to happen when he goes to try to register something like that?
Oh, there is a process for that actually through the ATF.
Well, I have the same situation. I've got a 3220 lever-action rifle that's been in my family since 1806 that I know of, but that wasn't the origin.
Right.
So.
I mean, to me, it's just silly to criminalize people for, owning something they already have, and if they don't want to go and get the permits, or don't have the time to get the permits, because I know my father-in-law has hundreds of guns. Easily hundreds of guns.
He's ready for the zombie apocalypse.
Well, I don't know how many of them actually work.
He just collects guns.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But
well,
there will
3220, you can't get ammunition for it anymore.
Actually, I would probably call him more of a hoarder with them, only because they're not, displayed in any way. They're kind of it looks like he just has, a dump in his basement.
Well, the thing is, a firearm is an asset. Okay? It's a durable good.
I'm not denying any of that.
So it goes up in value.
The logistics of having people that have large collections like him, having to go through. Think about all those guns, having to register each of them for $100 a pop.
I think that the Maryland law only applied to the handguns and any semi-automatic, which
AR tactical.
Will also include some shotguns too.
Well, really? I guess with a pistol grip, probably.
Yep. No, because you can take a semi-automatic shotgun. I know people have done this. And put a magazine extension on it. It takes 10 minutes. And you have a 10-shot, heavy as hell shotgun. And you put a pistol grip on it, too. And it's semi-automatic. And it's fun to shoot.
Well, apparently
it's fun.
The Senate committee lowered the licensing fee to $50, and you have to renew every 10 years for 20. But the other controversial thing is you have to give your fingerprints in order to get it.
Mm-hmm. Well, which is interesting because actually I was listening to a program the other day. I won't name the program because people will discredit it immediately. But I was listening to a program and it was a libertarian program. I
was on Infowars.com. No, probably.
I think you know.
Anyway,
basically, there was actually a court decision at some point where they said that a criminal is not permitted to register his illegal firearm because it would fall under the auspices of the Fifth Amendment, which is
self-incrimination.
Self-incrimination. So it has actually been upheld in court, used as a defense. So technically, if you have a firearm of unknown provenance, it's technically illegal. So by registering it, you would be incriminating yourself, saying that you have an undocumented weapon.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know the precise case or anything, but it was a Supreme Court decision.
Well, back to the fingerprint thing. You all do know that in order to get a liquor license, you have to give fingerprints. You have to have a corporation chartered with a emblem. And when I worked for Pizza Hut, to get a license to sell beer, it was a 15-page application, $700 a year. It was a nightmare. And two of us had to be fingerprinted.
And that's why they usually just transfer them, because if you try to get a brand new one, it's ridiculously hard because they only give out so many at a time.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a given area. Yeah.
On-premise, off-premise, both.
Yeah. And the same thing's going to happen, I think in Maryland, it's there's too many guns, so somebody will say. Probably somebody in Baltimore. And then they'll screw everybody, which is what they've done in the past, again and again and again.
Well, I mean, statistically, Maryland is not that bad with handgun violence. I mean, as much as everybody likes to say, don't go to Baltimore City because you'll get shot. I mean, honestly, if you look at the statistics, the level of shootings have dropped.
It has come down, but still, last year, I was listening to the 98 Rock one morning a couple months back, and they were talking about that. And last year, there were 371 shootings in Baltimore involving handguns.
And how many in the rest of Maryland?
Right, exactly.
Not too many.
You see, that's the thing.
All of it was Baltimore.
Maryland has one of those weird political divisions where the entire state suffers because of Baltimore.
Right.
I honestly think we should be part of West Virginia or Virginia. Anything west of Baltimore. East should be like Delaware or Pennsylvania, New Jersey or something, because there's that much of a divide between Baltimore, not even Baltimore County, because Baltimore County, northern Baltimore County, is a totally different world than anything south of Timonium, you know. Yeah. It's just a different world, and unfortunately, that's why Maryland's a Democratic state, solely because of Baltimore.
Well, I would say solely because of Baltimore, but...
No, I would say it's solely because of Baltimore. It's because of the population is all in Baltimore and the belt between Baltimore, D.C., and Philly.
Well, there you go. That's that beltway, because Montgomery County and PG County are strongly Democratic as well.
That's true, but that's because they're not really suburban anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
you know,
they're metro.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it like this, though. I mean, the thing is that it doesn't make sense to me what all they're doing with the gun things. I mean, there's I mean, this is something we've discussed before.
It makes perfect sense if you just think of it as yet another tax by a a government that wants to tax every little thing.
It feels like they just want to find a way to make money off the crisis.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing.
Well, that's what it's going to start out as, but now once they get this registry, then when they decide to make a particular type of firearm illegal, then they just have a list of where all they need to go to collect them.
And that's where you're going to start running into problems.
And that's what happened in England.
Yep, and they'll try to make it isolated. Yeah, that's exactly what happened in England. It happened in Australia. You know, England. And now you got people that fight back when somebody breaks in their house, and they get charged.
Yep.
You know, that's the way it is in England.
Or get sued for malicious wounding by the person who broke into their house and had no business being there in the first place.
Yeah, that's wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. I mean, I don't know. I always said if they were going to make people criminals over their shit, man, I wasn't going to get behind it. You know, because it's not one of our things. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of guns. We've gone over that. I'm not going to get into it. Yeah. But yeah, it's not. I see their purpose, but I see their downfalls. But at the same time, it's something that we've lived with in this country for hundreds of years. There is a larger problem with all the things that have gone on in our society, let's say for the last 50 years. Okay? Just to be generous.
Like the prison industrial complex?
And the drug wars and stuff like that.
Which is part of the prison industrial complex.
It all perpetuates that same cycle of violence, incarceration, and all of that. And it's a bigger systemic problem than just this. Like them banning this law like them trying to put these laws into place is not going to help solve this problem.
Well, no, because people with guns, they're going to say, fuck you, I'm not taking away my guns, and more people are going to get hurt.
Well, not only that, there's still a black market.
Right, exactly. And there's always going to be anything that people... if anything, we should learn anything from the fact that we're a capitalist society, is whenever there is a supply, whenever there's a demand, there will always be a supply. There will find out to be a supply. Oh.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, I can make a firearm.
Right.
You know, I don't need to go buy one. I can make a semi-automatic firearm.
Right.
The technology exists. It just requires the skill and the will.
3D printer.
Or a 3D printer. Then that only does like parts of the firearm.
I know.
And, honestly, my question is that, okay, let's say you own one of these weapons and somehow it gets grandfathered in, but any kind of transfer in the future is illegal. What about when this firearm starts to wear out and you have to buy parts for it?
Right.
Are they going to be illegal too?
Yeah, they'll just slowly let them all die out of commission.
Yeah, basically, like they get rid of firearms through attrition. I mean...
they wind up strangling it, without actually hurting, without touching it.
I highly encourage everybody who listens to this to read the Federalist Papers and puts the Constitution of the United States in the context of why things were done the way they were. because it's important to understand that, because there's a lot of people today who like to put their own spin on what everything means, and it's, just look at the Federalist Papers and read them.
I mean, the problem with a lot of the stuff that was written is the fact that it's just like, so it's written in a way to misread it. Like even the Second Amendment winds up being the fact that they put certain language into it winds up leaving it open for debate, as opposed to just saying everybody has the right to bear arms. There you go. They had to put extra lines in, which where the argument lies in. We got
to remember.
Yeah, because it doesn't actually say everybody has the right to bear arms. It says we have the right to organize and maintain a militia.
Right.
Comma.
Yeah, but the Supreme
Court. The right
Court
of the people to bear arms.
Right.
Right.
To keep and bear arms.
The Supreme Court has said that it's a personal right, so
all the
at this
rights
point,
are
there's
personal.
not much you can do it.
Yeah.
They're saying, the right of the people to get together and form militias, which is under the auspices of the state, that is separate. Is from the right to bear arms.
Well, see, to me, they jumped the shark with these bills, because instead of just going, okay, we're going to put in universal background checks on every weapon, which is something they should have been to begin with.
You know what, though? You know what I heard today, and it pissed me the fuck off, was I was listening to C-SPAN, and Lindsey Graham's an asshole to start with, but he's talking to a witness, and they're trying to figure stuff out, and it pissed me off because he wouldn't, and they do it a lot when you listen to these hearings, but wouldn't let the guy speak. He kept asking questions and then cutting the guy off and basically handing over an answer, but
that's because it's a show.
That's exactly what it is. It's all the Tony show. And if I ever went to one of those hearings, I'd be found in contempt, because he'd start that shit with me, and I'd look at him and say,
the guy almost
when
did.
You're done, I will answer your question.
The head of the committee basically told because the guy flipped and said, because what Lindsey Graham was trying to say is because they don't, because the Attorney General doesn't prosecute falsified applications to get a firearm, like the permit or whatever.
I don't even think it was falsified. It was denied applications.
Right. He was basically saying but most of them that were denied were found to be falsified, meaning, they put misinformation on there that or they didn't put information on that would have prevented them from getting it. So it is something that you can prosecute for, and he was berating the guy for not going after any prosecutions, and the guy finally snapped and yelled at him, was like, if you really are going to sit here and we go after firearms, we don't go after paperwork. If you really want me to misallocate resources in order to go after people for paperwork, and you're using that basically, but what Lindsey Graham was doing was using that as an excuse on why we shouldn't test, or we shouldn't make everybody have to do a background check because they don't persecute when they're found, that they can't have one. Well, that doesn't make any fucking sense, because you still want everybody to be checked. The system's working if they can't get it, regardless of whether or not we're prosecuting people for falsifying paperwork. Even if they can't get the weapon, they can't get the weapon.
Lanza was denied a weapon.
The what?
Lanza was denied a weapon. He tried, the Newport guy. He went to Dick's Sporting Goods to try to buy a gun, and they said no, because he failed the paperwork test pretty much.
Right,
and so that's as far as the law can go.
Right, and the system worked and did what it was supposed to do. His stupid mother didn't do what she was supposed to do and have her weapons locked away.
Right.
There's unfortunately, there's not really, it all comes down to, it doesn't come down that we need more laws. The only thing we really should be doing more is the damn background check for everyone. That's really the only thing we need to extend, especially in Maryland, where it's already hard as shit to get a weapon.
That's true. Okay. I mean, you have to jump through all kinds of hoops to buy a .22 caliber rifle in Maryland. I mean, granted, you can go there, buy it, and take it home, but they still call people. They do background check, through NICS.
My friend tried to get a armed security job, and the state police must have called like 10 of us.
Yep.
Doing the check, and that's
I remember that.
what you should be doing. I mean, to be honest, I was shocked. Like, I own a shotgun. I was shocked that I didn't have to do anything to get my shotgun. I literally just was able to take possession of it.
Yeah, that's one of the few weapons that you can get without any problems.
Well,
which is funny.
I guess they figure because it's such a short-range weapon.
It can be.
Not if it's pellets.
You mean it's slugs?
Pellets, it's short range. 60 yards. You got to be within 60 yards for it to be lethal.
Depends on the pellet of what you're using.
Well, if it's considered a pellet, it's number 6 shot or smaller. If you get bigger than that, then they're considered slugs or pumpkin balls.
That's not true. Because buckshot is...
Double-aught buckshot is considered pumpkin balls.
Nah.
It's ball shot.
Okay. Anyway.
People fighting about guns. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Guys are fighting over ammo size.
Well,
it makes a difference in the classification. And believe it or not, there are probably about 55 pages in the damn code about
how big the ammo
caliber size and all that nonsense.
Yeah. Which you have the duty to know all of it, because ignorance of the law is no excuse, even though you need to be a lawyer to understand it. A whole other issue with law in general.
So okay. Now I want to jump into Bradley Manning. That sounded gay.
Ban him!
No. Essentially, this guy. Okay. Now, for those who don't know who Bradley Manning is, he wound up passing information to WikiLeaks. Information that he had also attempted to try to give to, I believe it was the Washington Post. And they said they didn't want to touch it pretty much because they felt it was too sensitive information. But the biggest thing that came out of it was there was an Apache helicopter video that came out of all of them, where 2 journalists were gunned down by an Apache helicopter because they were suspected to be terrorists.
Yeah, I've seen this.
And so that's what the biggest thing is, and it seems to be that they're more pushing this issue because of embarrassment, more so than any real legality issues or any classified information, really. Because I think also out of his bunch of stuff wound up being some of the stories that were like some sort of discussions over diplomatic things, where essentially people were saying stuff about other countries that looked bad in the diplomatic world. Mm-hmm. And we have people all the time that kind of posture like they're going against the government in mainstream media, and they're really not. Pretty much they're reading the script that the government hands them, whether it be a supposed leak of some information, or something like that.
It's because investigative journalism doesn't exist anymore, except outside the auspices of an organization like WikiLeaks.
Exactly. And it's kind of messed up, because Bradley Manning even said, okay, you know what? I feel like I've done, some of these things are true. I will bite the bullet and I will plead guilty, which is very unheard of, because he essentially made his own plea deal. He said he was only going to plead guilty to 10 of these because he felt that those were ones that were justifiable. And the prosecution pretty much said, yeah, no, fuck that. We're going to go after all of them, all 22 of them, and we're going to brand you a traitor, and we're going to put you for life in prison, pretty much. And I'm not sure if they're going to attempt to go after any kind of death sentences or anything.
Well, look what they're doing with Julian Assange. They set him up for fake rape charges.
Right.
They pretty much lambasted the guy. Just totally, It's like a witch hunt almost.
Well,
Do we know for a fact that the rape charges were fake?
Well, the girl came out and said it, but they're still pursuing the extradition.
Oh yeah, the United States wants to get their hands on his ass bad.
Yeah, because he's exposing the truth.
Right. And as far as I'm aware of, they haven't released anything really horrible with positions of troops or anything like that, of anything that was recent enough to warrant any information gathering. Just to think about this, the Bush administration wound up leaking multiple CIA agents.
Yep. Yeah, with what's her name, Valerie Plame or whatever.
And none of them went to jail over that, and they put a ton of people's lives at risk for that.
I thought people actually died because of that.
The possibility. To me, it's just ridiculous the fact that, this guy is being rolled over the coals.
That's because he's not part of the inner circle elite, And
I wish more. I'm happy people are standing out there and they're talking about it, but really, he's a symbol for what is wrong in this country. This guy tried to say, hey, look, our government is doing stupid, fucked up shit. And we're pretty much...
Well, here's what happened. Being a veteran, I will tell you, the first thing, number one, when you sign your contract and join the military, it says that you will not have any kind of political agenda or stance. You are the military. You do what the government orders you to do. You won't discuss this stuff.
There was a group that I know that followed those rules, too. A lot of Jews died because of it.
Well, there's also a caveat in that contract. You don't have to follow moral orders.
You do, well, that's a hairy thing. Yeah, they say if you feel that you don't have to follow immoral orders. However,
it's a hairy thing when it goes against...
Because it's who determines whether they were moral or not, and that's determined by a courts martial. So, you get into hot water no matter what. The thing is our military, the men and women who serve, take pride in the fact that they are professionals, and leaking out stuff in the manner that he did was not a professional way of doing it.
Like raping women in combat, killing innocent civilians. We have a high standard in our military.
I'm saying as a whole, our military does have a high standard. Do we have bad apples? Absolutely. Everybody has bad apples.
We have a lot of bad apples.
That's not. You're kind of demonizing.
Think about you. Look at the.
Let me talk. So if you look at past wars, if you look at Japan invading China, during World War II, and this is only 60 years ago or whatever, they actually kidnapped and raped into prostitution Chinese women and took them back to mainland China to serve, or mainland Japan to serve as, to serve as prostitutes. There was much worse atrocity. Yes, our army does fucked up shit, but to compare them to, past abuses by other countries, yes, it's going to be fucked up. You got a bunch of hopped up men, and I'm not justifying it at all, but you got a bunch of hopped up men, and they're going to do fucked up shit. Yep. And women now. And you know what? Good. Hopefully that'll help change some things. But, it's not, compared to other past militaries, we're nowhere near as bad.
About something here, Johnny.
No, we just do our shit under the color of law.
Right. Just think about what we know about. Think about Abu Ghraib, the way we treated those people. Think about the hundreds and hundreds of cases of rape that have been reported, and the thousands more that haven't been, by systemic, leadership saying, nope, we're not going to follow these charges, even though they went to their commanding officers. Okay? You have all this different stuff. I
didn't say there wasn't problems. I'm just saying that comparing it to,
I haven't compared him to anybody else. I compared only one thing, and that was when he was talking about the following orders thing. Okay? Other than that, we have a fucked up military. We have a military that didn't want to let gay people in. We have the French and a ton of other European armies that allow gays and women to serve for a very long time and don't have nearly the amount of problems that we have in ours.
That you know of.
Yeah, that I know of. But
because their militaries and everything don't report all the incidences that they have either.
Well, they've also had gays in the military longer, and women in the military longer on frontline positions.
Well, they are French.
Yes. So
well, even in the Soviet Union, everybody that's born over there has mandatory 2 years of military service. Israel has mandatory military service.
There's Switzerland.
Yeah. So
that's something that would probably be good here as well, but
they're proposing it.
I do not agree with that at all.
Charlie Rangel proposed it last week.
Yes, he did, and I do not agree with that shit at all.
I think it'd be good. It'd teach everybody how to use a weapon. It would,
Not even so much that. I hope that it wouldn't demoralize the military, but when you join the military, especially if you're out of high school and you're young, it does teach you self-respect, pride, honor.
I have all those things already, and I didn't have to go in the military to get that. They can be taught by parents. They don't need to go into the government.
Well, that's the problem. They can be taught by parents if the parents will get off their asses and do what they're responsible for doing, which is not happening anymore.
But our society, the problem is
that's true.
It rewards the fat, lazy mouse as opposed to the one that works hard to get the cheese.
There you go.
And
well, you have government cheese for that.
Oh, Lord. Wow, that came full circle.
Oh, God. Threw off my entire fucking train of thought, you ass.
I couldn't help it. It had to be done.
Well,
you were talking about the fat, lazy welfare queens.
Back to Mr. Manning, I think what they're doing to him is a little bit, well, no, it's not a little bit extreme. It's a lot extreme. I think they're making an example out of him, unfortunately. But at the same time, he violated the code.
Yeah. But we also, the Obama administration has persecuted more whistleblowers than any other.
And every other combined.
Every other combined, absolutely.
Yes.
Combined. I mean, so to me.
Yet the administration of transparency.
Are very much.
Well, that's just it. They're turning us against each other, ourselves.
Well, that's been going on for a very long time between the two parties to begin with. So, I mean, that's nothing new. But, alright. So let's go to the
sequestration.
Thank you. I just want to say, equestrians or something.
Sequestration.
Oh, we're going to go horseback riding. Okay.
Right. I actually had a thought on the whole sequestration thing today, and I had a proposal.
Okay.
Let's go to DC.
No, everybody wants to bitch about what's spending and, all that to cut, and, the Republicans always want to cut, all the benefits for the poor and the benefits for, the Medicare, Medicaid, and all that fun stuff. I think the solution is we should cut Medicare and Medicaid in the red states and see how much savings we get out of it and see how they feel, the Republican people feel about it after we do that. I think that would save a shit ton of money. They don't want to take it. They don't think people should get it. Then we just cut it for them.
Well, alternatively, we could pull all of our military bases out of the blue states and, all the employment that goes along with that. Because the blue states have some of the highest military presences there are. California, Maryland.
Quit sending soldiers overseas.
That would help, too.
Bring our military back to the United States, and then that would cut probably about between a third and half.
And that way they could be home for the coming revolution.
Well, the problem with the military is it's become a jobs program.
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
It's not really serving your country anymore. It's, hey, I can't find a job, so I'm going to go work for the government and fight shit.
Or I'm in a gang and I want to get experience on how to do stuff, so I'm going to go into the military. Right. I'm an illegal alien. I want to, honestly, you want to be an illegal alien and you as a price for coming to our country, you want to serve our country, that's fine with me. If you get citizenship by being by going through the military and honorably serving, that's awesome.
Worked real well for Rome.
Actually, wasn't that one of the reasons why they fell?
Exactly.
Well, you know what I mean. To solve the illegal immigration problem, and
Well, when your military becomes, the majority of your military is not citizen born, then yeah, you might have a problem there.
Well, the thing is,
the coming revolution will be a Latin American takeover of the United States.
It'll be brown dawn, but
Wow. Wow. You just went there.
That's a theory I've had for a while. Brown dawn.
Oh Jesus.
Well,
they have invaded with like 12 million people without a shot fired. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, just wait until they're activated.
Wow. That's not all we can say about that.
They already have guns. They're in gangs.
Wow. Another You want to drop a few more stereotypes? Are they all Mexican? Are we going to go there too?
No, because there's a lot of people from El Salvador and Puerto Rico. And all the brown countries down there.
So shovel.
Puerto Rico.
Cuba.
Shippers to hide the bodies.
Hey, Cubans don't consider themselves Hispanic or Latino. They consider themselves Spanish.
Okay, good for them. But
and Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens.
But they don't have representation.
And they're still U.S. citizens. They can come here without a passport.
They can't vote.
Territory.
They can when they move here. All they have to do is move into a state and take residency, and they can vote.
Oh, okay, well, good for them. Let me rephrase that. Haitians. Any of those brown countries.
Wow.
Okay. We got to put a collar on everything.
It makes it easier to identify.
Right. You need to know who your suspects are.
Yeah, that's why they do that.
Hey, hold on. Out of the four of us, let's pick who the right winger is. Let's pick the right winger. I'll give you one guess.
Ironically enough, that's farther from the truth.
I am the correct winger, but not in the sense that you're thinking of.
Anyway, so sequestration. Let's get back onto that horse.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny.
Anywho,
I lost my train of thought.
So, I mean, the thing is that they pretty much made a law to kick themselves in the ass to...
The Budget Control Act of 2011.
They kicked themselves in the ass to make things work and then said, fuck it, we don't care enough.
Well, half of them did.
Okay. Which half?
The incumbent half said, we're going to go ahead and not do that. But then the other half said, well, we agreed on this. And now we're going to blame you for it.
Which half is
our half?
Half.
What's that?
Which half is the incumbent half?
The one with the president in the office.
Well, see,
the one that doesn't want budget cuts that are required by the law.
Well, the incumbents in the House of Representatives are the Republicans.
I'm not talking about them.
Yeah, well, they're the ones who are holding up everything.
Okay.
They are.
They're the ones that are saying, no, we don't want any budget cuts.
Yes, because they don't want us to cut the military because that's where their budget cuts come from.
Okay.
So they don't want to lose the military, even though the military...
Either way, the government has clearly demonstrated it is non-functional. It needs to be replaced.
I think
Agreed.
we need to go with Johnny's vote of no...
Vote of no confidence.
Unfortunately, we don't have this.
Can we pass that? I'll go.
No, because they won't agree to it. Because then the
hey, guys, here's the first thing that'll fix the budget that will fix the budget tremendously is this whole stupid idea of you as a department of the United States government, you need to spend your entire budget, or the next year it gets cut.
Right.
That bullshit needs to go away.
Yeah, we've
then people buy stupid shit just to be buying it to spend the budget money.
And
but if they get the same amount of money the next year.
Or lavish vacations in Las Vegas.
Or having social services buying 500,000 rounds of ammo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me put something to scale here. 2 billion rounds of ammunition, okay, is like 40% more than was fired in Vietnam total. Okay?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, think about that. And you know what? It's not ammunition that can be used in warfare.
Right.
Because it's outlawed by the Geneva Conventions. Hollow point ammo,
Yeah.
So
I got a question here. Do you think that if America dropped into a revolution, you know, and wound up in another civil war, basically, do you think Canada would help?
yeah, they move their fucking marker south.
Do you think so?
Remember, Canada is effectively part of England. Okay.
I thought they were part of France.
Well,
And they're part of England. They have
they still have the Queen on their money.
Yeah, exactly. They have the Queen on their money. They and if you look at their laws and stuff, it's under the auspices of the Queen and all that.
Yeah, they'll follow whatever England tells them to do, basically.
Yeah, there's a lot of Scottish stuff in Canada too, if you look close.
Hey, maybe we should just let them move it down to the Mason-Dixon line.
See, I would have a problem with that.
Why?
Because I plan on getting the fuck out of this state before all this shit goes down. And I'm moving northwest.
Yeah, Canada will come in from the south. Mexico will take, California and all that back. And
It'll be brown dawn. You'll have poaching and, or not poaching. That's liquor. Whatever the thing they put the cheese on the fries.
Cheese fries?
Yeah. It's a Canadian
thing. I can think of.
Yeah, they make like French fries and then they pour like all kinds of shit on it. It's called like porcine or poachine or something like that. Poaching is like a kind
it's where you take a duck out of season, poaching.
No, poachine. It's kind of like Scottish. Anyway, yeah.
Wow.
I'm moving to Wyoming, so I will get the fuck out of Maryland, and that'll be Mason-Dixon line would do no good for me.
Your Brokeback Mountain fantasy.
We're getting more and more people every day. People afford to have a house already on it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That house?
No.
It's going to be a big old sausage fest.
Right?
No, there'll be females there.
I fear for their safety.
We've got females lined up.
No.
Anyway, sequestration,
We
pretty much.
can't stay on that topic, can we?
Not tonight.
I'm gonna put the chant.
But
thing up.
yeah, I mean, basically, it's a freaking terrible idea. They're not really, I've heard people say they're kind of for it because at least they're making them do, cut spending, but they're not really cutting from the right places. They need to figure this shit out, basically.
It's a political tool to begin with. I mean, government has to cut spending. I mean, it's out of control what they're doing. Their whole system is out of control. The whole government's out of control. Okay? But at the same time...
Now, I have a question real quick. Let me just interject a question right there for you. When you say the whole government, do you include the military in that thought process?
As far as the procurement process?
Spending and all that
thing?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And I think what's behind the military, which is the industries behind that whole process, is what's influencing it, is which needs to be throttled and controlled.
Yeah, I think any subsidies need to be cut.
Like what kind of subsidies?
Anything that pretty much perpetuates welfare in businesses.
But what about like the farm subsidies?
Yeah, I even kind of think they should be cut. I mean, I know it sounds like a dick thing, but I mean, we've got these things where we're in a capitalist society, but it's another one of those things like we keep bailing industries out, and then we put them on these, like when they have a hard time, like that's why a lot of these subsidies are.
Do you know why the corn subsidy is in place? It's so we can compete on the world marketplace for the price of corn.
But still, I mean, at the same time, you got oil companies and everything like that. You got banks that we've doled out money to, and we're pretty much keeping them on life support. Same with our industries. But I look at it like this: if we're a true capitalist society, I mean, I understand that the government.
We're not.
I know, but the government. I'm talking about in theory because everybody claims that we are these things. So it's just like we claim we're a moral nation, but we know we're far from that as well. We claim to be the society of let things fail and other things will spring up from it for a need.
But we also claim to be a society where the rights of the individual are sanctified in our Constitution. Yet at every turn we have a government that's curtailing those rights left again and again and again.
You just got to keep going back to that, don't you?
Well, no, No, well, it's not just the Second Amendment. It's the Fourth Amendment. It's the 10th Amendment. It's the First Amendment. I mean, it's just getting chopped up. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
The thing is that we could cut a lot of money by that, and people would find a way to do it more. The fact that we are pumping life support into things. I'm not saying that there isn't another way, but I mean, the thing is that the way we're doing it is not sustainable because, of course, every year as the market grows or whatever the case may be, we got to dump more and more money into this.
Well, that's the thing. If we're subsidizing corn because we need to compete with corn on the world market, why don't we stop growing fucking corn and grow something that we do compete in the world market with? Why?
Because there's a whole huge lobby in Congress that basically lubricates Congress with money and favors just vote their way. That's why.
Have money and dump it back into their farm.
And that's the source of every one of those spending problems. I guarantee you.
You're absolutely right. I don't disagree with you in the least bit.
That's why I say there needs to be
term limits.
Well, not only term limits,
but term limits wouldn't really matter if the lobbyists weren't there, because the problem is you have the lobbyists there going with the guys who are going to be there for another 30, 50 years.
Well, from my understanding of when I learned in DMCA class, about the structure of the government, it's that the Senate didn't have term limits, but the House did, because the senators were the ones that were the professional politicians, whereas the House was supposed to be the people that came in to represent the people. And
it sounds too much like the House of Commons and the House of Lords.
Well, yeah, that's the way it is, though. That was part of the model that they used. And unfortunately,
so the Senate's supposed to be aristocracy.
Well, it's like Miles deGrasse Tyson said. Okay, we have all of these. Where are the real people in Congress? We have lawyer. Where's the scientist? Where's the farmer? Where's where are the normal people? They're all lawyers, and that's part of the problem. They all have a specific thing in mind.
Why isn't a retired NASA individual the head of the science committee?
Is it? Or
no, it's not at all.
No, it's a freaking evangelical, or crazy person that thinks that evolution comes from the fiery pits of hell. I mean, it's fucking retarded.
Well,
Oh, that brings me to another point. Another cut we need to make is the goddamn talk about Constitution getting torn apart. Faith initiative. Jesus.
Yes.
Shit needs to go away. I don't understand how it's not a violation of separation of church and state to hand money over to religions.
Well, governments have been doing that for a long time. The entire papacy and the Roman Catholic Church revolves around governments handing them money. That's why they exist. That's why they've always existed.
It might be why how they got started, but the Catholic Church has real estate holdings in the billions now.
Well, yeah, where do you think they put all those assets? This is prime.
That's what I'm saying. The Catholic Church does not need a penny from any government anymore, ever again.
They still get.
Well, and they have one hell of an art collection too. That's probably worth a couple $2 billion.
Yes.
I would love to see the secrets in that vault.
The ones they haven't screwed up by putting fig leaves over the penises.
Oh, believe me. Actually, they're not putting fig leaves over the penises. I promise you that.
Well, they did back in the day.
There's a Michelangelo work.
They ruined a bunch of stuff in Rome doing that.
What was I think it might have been The Last Supper. The Last Supper is a fresco that was on the wall of a little chapel, and it was so damaged just from neglect. It was almost lost. I mean, it's an interesting story. But anyway,
And wasn't that one of the arguments too? There's the one of the people in there is actually
Bob Christ?
No, it's actually a woman.
Oh yeah, the one like 3 to the right, left of them, or whatever.
Right, but when they repainted
it's like
it,
Jesus' wife or something. That was like the whole Da Vinci Code thing. I think was about that.
But I think there was an actual debate before the movie about that.
I think, yeah, there probably was. You know what? You think about it. He had a long time, supposedly, where he didn't know he was the son of God. He's going to do some fucking, okay? Sorry.
Right. Well, they pretty much like left out everywhere from when he was like 5 to when he was like 33. So.
Well, they're in the apocryphal texts, which is the other Bible that they didn't include with, supposedly with all the rest of it, the stories that were discarded.
Apparently
there was over 400 of them they left out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was a lot. And
it was
the apocryphal texts is what they
No,
referred
but it was the council of
Yeah, the people who defined the Bible back in the day.
Yeah, it's council. I think it starts with an N. I forget what it's called.
It was like 100 AC or AD or whatever.
Yeah, they basically had to decide whether or not he was divine, and they decided he was divine by a vote. So they got rid of all the texts that said he wasn't divine.
And then got rid of all the contradictory stuff too. But anyway, we're talking about the Bible now. This is not a Bible study class. So we were talking about sequestration and how it's going to destroy our country and how Thomas all is blamed.
I was going to jump into the fact of how do you guys feel being popeless?
We've been popeless before. My thing is that there was like the original Pope went into a trance and named all the future popes. It's like 113 or 116, and we just went through 116. There's nothing after that, so it's going to be the Mayan apocalypse all over again.
Well, never do.
I thought we've only gone through 113, and that the 114th was going to be the Antichrist or something.
Okay,
I heard that recently too.
I didn't know the Antichrist.
Yeah, that's the version I heard. So whoever gets elected next is the Antichrist.
Oh, well,
sweet.
Let's get Obama over there.
What Obama? But it's going to be interesting.
Now, the front runners are 2 Africans and a guy from Latin America.
Hi, it's another black guy who's going to take over.
Yeah, man. They even took over golf.
There's your brown dawn. It's going to either be 2 black men. It's either going to be one of 2 black guys from Africa or a Latin guy.
Wouldn't it be black?
That's 2 of the front runners right now.
I'm kind of curious how they'll wind up being with the whole child molestation cases.
I don't know. I kind of think that's what happened with this Pope.
Well,
that's allegations.
That's the rumor of what happened. That one of the European governments said that they were going to arrest him if he left Vatican territory, and that's why he's not. He had to resign because he couldn't travel anymore.
Yeah, or if he went into their territory.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be Pope, then you got to travel through the countries, and if you can't travel because you might get arrested, then
we're still talking about this.
But I was just kind of curious because I know Johnny's other half and all them are all Catholic, so I was just curious as if anything had come out of any of that.
We've been without popes before.
I know
we've had the S&M popes. We've had all kinds of popes. The Pope used to be like a king, pretty much.
Yeah, because they had popes that tried to get their illegitimate grandchildren put in as the next Pope.
Fred's Catholic too. Fred's Catholic too. Does he have any interesting?
I'm just going to sit back and wait and see who they decide to bring in.
So, are you going to be offended if it's a black man?
No, I would not be offended.
I mean, because you had so many white people for so long. Well, it's like the presidency, when everybody got so up in arms. In fact,
and you know who the guy that really ruined it was that French bastard back in the day that moved the damn Vatican to France.
Okay, the Vatican to France.
Yeah, it says back in like the Dark Ages or something.
Oh darn! What was his name?
Pope French guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to take
head
Catholic
of the
Church
to the south
of France. Yeah, it was in Naples.
Naples is in Italy.
Not Naples.
It's not Naples. Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
No, Avalon.
Yep, there you go.
That was it.
Are we going to name any? Going once, going twice.
I'm trying to think of his name because he went against the England big time, and England had a big beef with him.
I think it's all silly.
Anyway.
Men wearing dresses and talking to imaginary people. If you would see somebody walking down the street doing that, you would put them in a jail. But here we have a whole city built around it in the Vatican.
Yeah, I wouldn't put them in jail. I'd just walk to the other side of the street.
So what does that say about religion?
It was Pope Clement V.
That was it.
You know, their real names, right?
And
No, that's the papal name.
how does that affect the socioeconomic, or what socioeconomic ramifications does that have on the modern society?
Well, apparently there's a big boom in buying up old Benedict stuff.
Like his red shoes?
And it's kind of funny. He was wearing Prada shoes.
And his Nazi youth knife.
Yeah, right?
Wears Prada.
The Hitler you.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
You.
Anyway, so we've hit our mark. We've talked about everything except the sequestration pretty much. So,
But that's okay, because according to Mayor Bloomberg, we have infinite money.
we do have infinite money. We got a money machine. We got a money press. We can make as much money as we want.
Yep. And unfortunately, every time they do that, it decreases the value of the currency further and further, making it harder and harder.
Anything to begin with.
You know, that's the problem with fiat currencies. They have no basis in reality.
You can print it indefinitely.
Yeah, which is not good. That's how Zimbabwe ended up, having $1 billion bills that you buy bread with.
I can't wait to have $1 billion.
Well, you'll be able to buy a loaf of bread with it.
That's cool though. I'll still be able to say I'm a billionaire. That makes me happy.
I want to be able to haul my money. I want to be able to buy bread with a wheelbarrow full of money.
Goddamn right.
Well, it's coming, so you're happy.
Yeah, you'll be in Wyoming. It won't matter anyway.
That's true. I'll be, doing manly Wyoming stuff.
Hey man, I'm gonna be
With a bunch of men
our money.
and no women.
If our money wants to be in that scenario, I'm just gonna make bricks of it and build a house with it.
That would be awesome. It's like, yeah, I'd take $40 billion bills, please.
Exactly.
I really want to, I really want to do. I saw one time somebody made a floor out of pennies, and glued them all down, and then epoxied over it. It looked awesome.
Huh.
But if they ever decide that they're going to stop using the penny, which actually would be another good idea to save some money. Canada just did it.
Well, you know why they did that? Because of the devaluing of the currency. That's why the penny has no value.
$14 million a year.
Yeah, because the penny has no value anymore because the currency's been devalued. So
Then and the penny still has no value.
Copper costs more than what the penny's worth.
there's just hardly any copper in the penny.
It's zinc now, but yeah,
Zinc and steel.
The zinc is still worth more than what the penny's worth.
penny.
So why make it?
Well, can I use it as an anode on my boat?
We should melt it down and make bullets.
I don't know. That'd probably scratch up a barrel. You need some soft metal like copper or gold for that.
Make arrowheads.
Ooh, I want to make gold bullets. It'd be sweet to shoot people with gold bullets.
It'd be pretty dense, too. Actually, it's gold before or after lead. It's after lead, so it'd be a little denser. I think somebody tried that. It was, Ian Fleming with the Man from the Golden Gun. James Bond movie. It was, Christopher, the Saruman guy.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
So that's it for Congress of the Working Class. I'm Mike, Johnny, Esworthy, and Fred saying goodnight.
And don't forget your Jedi mind meld.
He had 3 nipples, too.
Listen up, man, I'll tell